What's up, y'all? Derek here. Rewired Addiction. I'm talking with the wife, and we wanted to go a little bit into some of the past and talk about when the drugs worked, and maybe we'll just go off that and see where we go. You remember when we first started playing around with like smoking and rolling and little stuff like that?
Yeah.
And it worked?
Yeah, it worked for normal people. And
you found out I wasn't normal.
Yes, you're far from normal.
And I mean, look, that's fine. But when would you say you finally saw something wasn't?
Well, when we first got together, we were smoking a lot of weed. I wouldn't say I knew that there was a problem at that time, other than that you were very extreme, even with weed. You needed a blunt every time I turned around. You needed to smoke. You wanted the best of the best. You know, you couldn't go without being high. So I didn't know that you had a problem. I just thought, geez. As time went on and you got onto pills was the first that I noticed your addiction.
A whole different level.
Right, yeah. So you got onto pain medicine, I think just Percocets at first, and then eventually it moved to, what were those, Oxy?
Well, we went from Oxys, but you're talking about the Opanas and stuff, yeah.
Opanas, and then, spending a lot of money on those, and you struggled for years with pills. When you would try to stop doing pills, you'd get clean off of it for a little while, and then you'd start drinking, and I noticed you had a problem with that.
And then the steroids.
Then when you weren't drinking, you were trying to get in the gym, and then you'd abuse the you'd get on steroids and abuse that. You just could never have control over any of it.
I can't drink. I can't smoke weed without making that. I mean, that was probably the best time of my addiction, if you will. If there was, obviously if I took something too far, smoking weed would have been the only one that we would have been like, okay, I guess you'd say you're more tolerable on that than anything else. But the pills, the alcohol, the steroids, the heroin, of course. So now it progressed. And the idea that there's a progressive disease that I have is legit. But can we go a little bit into some of the stuff that I would go to and how extreme I'd get and how I would do things I never would have done from the pills and the heroin?
As far as the pills go, I think you worked just to get enough money to get high. I used to have to hold your pills so that you wouldn't take all of them, because I would try to maintain your addiction while still being able to get you to do what you needed to do for the family by working. But you'd always convince me to give them to you. You'd always do them ahead of time. You'd promise that, if I bought you some, you'd get up and go to work the next day. You had to have it so that you could work. So I'd do it because we needed money for you to work. Then you would do it the same night you got it. And then you would end up still not going to work. So it just was a cycle over and over. You did that for a long time.
Yeah.
Obviously I learned my lesson after a while.
Right.
But I also had a soft spot in my heart for your issue because I knew you were sick. I just didn't know how to help you.
And then I got clean for 2 years from the pills, and I was very religious. In fact, I was addicted to that.
Yes.
I have not figured out in all that time how to be somewhat balanced, and right. I feel like, and I still have those tendencies, and you know it, but I'm far more balanced, would you say?
Yeah, not necessarily is it the part that you're more balanced, but you recognize it too, so you are more cautious, so that you can try to be balanced. I do have to sometimes
nudge me, like last night off the computer.
Lead you the right way, but at least you acknowledge it and you try to do better. You can't improve on something unless you know that you have a problem to improve on.
Right.
So until you realized your issue, there was no telling you or trying to help you because you didn't recognize it.
What was the worst experience you remember? And I know you block out a lot of it, but what was the worst experience you remember of my drug use? In your head. That you can remember. What would you say? Yeah.
You needed pills one time, and I would not give you money. I did not want to continue to enable you. So I was like, nope, you're not getting any money. So you convinced me to... no, you had a brand new laptop that your mom's friend had just bought for you. And I was very jealous because, I worked my ass off. I got nothing. Here you get all this stuff and, you're not doing right. So I was pissed off about it anyways. And I wanted a computer, but I couldn't afford one. And I remember you were mad I wouldn't give you money. So you told me you were going to go pawn it, your laptop. And I'm like, no, you're not going to pawn it. How about I just buy it from you and it will be mine. But then you can still use it and you'll still have it because I'm going to pay you more than what you'll get at a pawn shop. And you won't even have a computer at that point. So I went ahead and did it so that you would not pawn your laptop.
Right.
So once I did that, later down the road, you were fine. Well, you got upset again because I wouldn't give you money. So then you decided you were going to pawn your TV, your flat screen TV. And I was like, no, you're not going to pawn your TV. Oh, but it's my TV. You're not going to pawn it. So me and you got into a huge fight. You took the laptop and the TV with you, and you left. And I was so upset and pissed off at you because you then took my laptop.
I remember this one.
And our fucking TV. So...
And I got
your friend, Darren, in the car with me. And I said, I'm going to go find him. I know where he goes. So we went to the pawn shop that you normally went to, and your truck was there. Mm-hmm. But you were not anywhere to be found. And so I am fucking freaking out because I was pissed. Because now you have my laptop that I paid you for and the TV. Well, you decided in your tiny little head that because you got my laptop, you were going to go ahead and pawn that and you were going to keep your TV. But like an idiot, you left your truck unlocked at a pawn shop with your TV in it and had gotten Kurt to pick you up, and you and him went to go get straight. So I call you and you're like, what do you want? And I'm like, oh yeah, you think you're so slick? Where's my laptop? And you're like, oh, I pawned it. And I'm like, really? Well, I got your TV. So I got your TV. I got your friend to help me load your TV in my car. And then I call your mom and I'm like, you know what? I'm about to put him in jail. He just pawned my laptop, And I took his TV. Someone could have stolen it out of his truck. I was freaking out. So your mom had to go pay to have my laptop taken out of a different pawn shop. It's just a big mess. That's one of the worst.
And I looked at Kurt when you said that, and I was like, damn, she got me,
Because who leaves a TV in the unlocked truck in a parking lot of a pawn shop?
We weren't right, and
you're lucky I got it.
Yeah. But and so how did you just somehow your love for me just pulled you through all that? And we fought. We've been through it all together, by the way, in case you don't know. We've been through all there is to go through in our marriage. What kept you going?
Your love.
Did I come back to you? And I'm sure I remember sometimes, but did I always try to come to you and apologize and really mean it?
You did, but mainly when you were high and feeling good, and when you were talking about you would quit and this and that. But then when you were hurting, it'd be a different story. You'd forget the pain of what you were actually putting yourself through, and you'd only remember the physical pain and getting your fix.
What if I told you that every time that I was saying I was sorry, I really meant it, but I didn't know how to I didn't know how to get out, and I meant everything I ever said when it was good.
Yeah.
And every time I was wrong, and I was mean, and I was crazy, that was the drug addiction. That was me not really meaning it.
Yeah.
I know. And that's probably why I think you stuck it out, because you knew.
Well, I knew your heart, and I knew your potential, the man that you could be, and would be if you would just leave the drugs and get clean and do what you're supposed to do. I believed that you were going to do that. I didn't expect for it to take as long as it did.
Yeah.
But I knew who you were, and I knew your heart,
Right.
And I think that kept me going. I also knew that it was easy for you to be enabled because of your upbringing, your mom's behavior. You know, I was enabling you. You had so many people who enabled you, as well as Kurt had so many people who
I was a
enabled
good
him.
manipulator. So is
And
Kurt.
you're awesome manipulators that it just you know, backfired on you guys even more. So I tried to steer you the right way as best as I could without enabling you, but also without hurting the family, trying to keep the family together and our kids going. And, you know, I don't know. You know?
Yeah.
It's all a struggle.
Well, look, I guess, just like, subscribe, share. I hope you guys got something out of this. A loved one's view of addiction and the things that we put them through. And there's tons of horror stories that, you know, we've been through and stuff. But look, 3.5 years clean. I'm thankful. I'm grateful I have today. And I hope that another loved one or someone who's in addiction sees this and maybe it helps them, or even a loved one of the addict can see this and say, you know what? I either want to endure this and hope that they get clean, or I don't want to live this lifestyle. And so that's what you got there. Rewired addiction. Love you.
Love you.